Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready to make some money in the stock market?
Always ready for that.
I know you are. That's why you're here.
That's right.
Well, for this deep dive, we're going to be taking a look at William J. O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks.
A classic.
It really is. It's been helping people become successful investors for decades.
It has. And for good reason. O'Neill really did change the way people thought about investing. Moving away from just hunches and intuition to a more data-driven approach.
A more scientific approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's not just some, armchair theorist.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who founded Investors Business Daily, which has become like a staple for serious investors, right?
Absolutely, yeah. He's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk.
Ah.
And I think that's what makes How to Make Money in Stocks so compelling. He doesn't just lay out his CAN-SLIM system,
Right.
but he actually backs it up with real-world examples of how people have used it.
Everyday people.
Yeah, everyday people who've achieved some pretty remarkable results.
Yeah, and that's what drew me to this book, too, is I was like, okay, this sounds interesting, but then you see how it's actually played out in the lives of people who've used it. And I thought, okay, this is something worth taking a deeper look into.
And that's what we're going to do.
That is what we are going to do. So before we really dive into the specifics, can you just give us a little bit of background about O'Neill? Like what shaped his whole investing philosophy?
Well, he actually started his career as a stockbroker back in the late 1950s.
Okay.
And he was really fascinated by the market, of course, but he wasn't, content with just the conventional wisdom of the time.
Right.
He really wanted to understand, what truly drove stock prices, what set the winners apart from the losers.
So he started digging into the data.
That's exactly what he did.
Okay.
He spent years studying market history, analyzing all those patterns of winning stocks.
Right.
And developed his own unique approach. And, that's how the CAN-SLIM system was born.
The CAN-SLIM system. Okay, now I have heard of CAN-SLIM, but honestly, it's kind of always felt a little intimidating to me. Can you break it down for us a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually a pretty straightforward acronym that can help you identify those companies with strong growth potential.
Correct.
So it stands for CANSLIM, current strong quarterly and annual earnings growth.
So you want companies that are really on the move, showing that momentum?
Yeah, showing real momentum.
Okay.
And A, that stands for annual earnings increases, but not just for 1 year. Got it. For several years.
Oh, so consistent performance.
Yeah.
You're not just looking for a one-hit wonder.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
Got it. So you got NSLIM. What are we looking for there?
All right, so N is for new. So new products, new management, or even new price highs.
Okay.
Which signals, that a company's innovating, breaking new ground.
So you want to kind of be on the ground floor of the next big thing.
Exactly. And then S stands for supply and demand. So you want to look at trading volume as an indicator of institutional buying.
So that's how you spot the smart money coming in.
Right. You follow those big players.
All right. Makes sense. What about L?
So L stands for leading stocks in leading industries, right? Because a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right.
So you want to be in those sectors that are experiencing strong growth.
Ride the wave.
Yeah, ride that wave.
A booming industry.
Exactly. On to I and M.
Yes, I and M.
I is for institutional sponsorship.
Okay.
So basically, you're identifying stocks that are favored by those, those big institutions we talked about earlier.
The top mutual funds, the experts, the people in the know.
Exactly. So you got confirmation from multiple sources.
Right, like they're betting on these companies.
Exactly. And finally, M is for market direction.
Okay.
Understanding when to be in, when to be out.
That's a big one.
Huge. Because as O'Neill emphasizes,
Right.
Even the best stock can lose money if you're buying and selling at the wrong time.
Timing is everything in the market. Okay, so that's CAN-SLIM. I think I'm getting a little bit better now.
Good.
But what makes O'Neill's book so unique is it's not just about the system.
Right.
It's the way he weaves those principles into all these really inspiring success stories, right?
Yeah. He doesn't just give you a formula and say, good luck. He shows you how real people are using it.
That's what I like about it.
Right, and he takes you through their journey.
And that's what we're going to explore as we dive into these individual chapters.
Yeah, let's do it.
So shall we start with Chapter 4, Belt Promotion, One Stock Victory at a Time.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this chapter, it focuses on building confidence.
Yes.
And momentum, right?
Momentum.
And it's through those early wins.
Early wins.
O'Neill compares it to earning your first belt in martial arts, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to prove to yourself that you can do this.
You start small.
Start small.
And build up to that black belt level of, trading mastery.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, I love that too. It kind of makes it feel more achievable. Like, oh, I can get there
One step at a time.
one step at a time. So what kind of like first stage base stocks is he talking about in this chapter? Like what makes them so special?
Well, he's really focusing on those stocks that are poised for, really significant growth.
Okay.
But they might not have hit the mainstream radar yet.
Okay.
Often companies that are introducing new products or services, or even those that are benefiting from a shift in consumer behavior.
Okay, so spotting those hidden gems before everyone else does,
That's it.
before they explode in value.
Exactly.
All right. So in this chapter, O'Neill introduces us to Stuart Ovian, who is a leader of an IBD meetup group.
Yeah.
And Ovian really believes that one of the best ways to build that confidence as an investor is to participate in what's called a follow-through day.
Yes.
Now, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but can you just remind us, for the listeners, what a follow-through day is and why it's so important?
Sure. So a follow-through day is basically a signal that the market is shifting
Yep.
from a downtrend to an uptrend. So it's really confirmation that a new rally has legs.
So it's not just like a random blip on the radar.
It's not. It's an actual pattern that O'Neill has identified through his research.
Okay.
And it actually has a pretty high success rate in predicting the start of a new bull market.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So why does Ovian believe it's so important to actually buy at least one stock on a follow-through day?
He believes that it's just crucial for building that psychological momentum.
Ah, okay.
It's about proving to yourself that you can identify these opportunities and take action.
So it's not even just necessarily about the financial gain at that point. It's
Right.
like overcoming the fear
Right.
and building that confidence in yourself.
That you can do this. Exactly.
Right, and that goes back to that whole built promotion concept of
Yeah.
like taking those small steps, proving to yourself
Yeah, building up to those big wins.
that you can get there.
Exactly.
So you think that would be incredibly empowering for new investors, especially
Absolutely, yeah. It shifts your mindset completely.
from fear to action.
Yeah, from that fear and uncertainty to action and confidence.
I love that. Now, this brings up an interesting question for me. We're talking about recognizing patterns,
Yes.
acting decisively, being ready for that follow-through day. But isn't there a risk of getting caught up in like the hype
Oh, yeah.
and making impulsive decisions? Like, how do we balance that like enthusiasm with a little bit of healthy caution?
That is a great question, and that's actually something we'll be exploring more as we get into Chapter 5,
Okay.
which focuses on risk management and the art of cutting your losses.
Kicking the bag, learning to take losses and sell rules.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a hard one.
It is.
It is a hard one.
It's a crucial skill for any investor,
Especially when, emotions are involved.
especially when your emotions are running high, yeah.
But O'Neill doesn't sugarcoat it. He really just says, like, cutting your losses short is absolutely essential
Essential.
for long-term success in the market. And he introduces us to this guy, Aloha Mike,
Aloha, Mike.
who has a very interesting system, I think, for managing risk.
I love Aloha, Mike.
Mike rewards himself with, get this, a Hawaiian shirt for every 25% gain that he makes on a stock.
Oh, that's so fun.
I know, it's such a good idea. I want to do that. Maybe not with Hawaiian shirts.
You could pick something else.
I'll pick something else, yeah. But it's such a good idea to kind of reward yourself
Absolutely.
when you make those smart decisions.
It's like positive reinforcement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing it's more than just the shirts, right? Like it's about
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
changing your thinking.
It's about reframing his mindset around selling, right? So instead of viewing it as a loss, he's celebrating his ability to, lock in those profits
And move on.
to the next opportunity.
So it's a way to take the emotion out
Yeah, take that emotion out.
and focus on the big picture.
Exactly.
Now, this ties into another one of Mike's key rules. He says, never average down on a losing stock. Now, this is a tough one for a lot of people because it's so tempting when you see a stock that you love and it's dropping in price to think, oh, I'm just going to buy more now while it's cheap and I'll make up for my losses later.
Right.
But that can be a dangerous, dangerous game.
It can be a trap.
It can be a trap.
Yeah.
As O'Neill says, you're essentially doubling down on a losing bet,
Right.
potentially digging yourself into a deeper hole.
Yeah. You're putting good money after bad.
So how do we reframe our thinking to make it easier to just walk away from those losing positions? It's so hard.
It is hard.
It is so hard.
It's about recognizing that selling a losing stock is not a failure.
Okay.
It's actually a smart move to protect your capital.
So like a strategic decision
Exactly. Yeah.
rather than an emotional one.
Not about your ego, but your portfolio.
Yeah, so it's almost like a victory in itself.
Yes.
A victory over our own, ego and that fear of being wrong.
It's a powerful mindset shift.
It really is. Okay, so that brings us to Chapter 6, Breaking Boards, Successful Trades and Lessons Learned. Now, this sounds like we're getting into some more advanced strategies here.
Yeah, definitely. This is where we start to understand those broader market trends and the importance of staying in sync with them.
So it's not just about picking individual stocks, it's about kind of reading the market signals.
Absolutely. Knowing when to ride that wave and when to pull back.
And O'Neill highlights the story of Randall in this chapter, who was able to spot a potential market leader, Whole Foods Market, I believe.
Yeah, Whole Foods Market.
Even before the new uptrend began.
Yeah, he had a knack for it.
That's pretty impressive. Like, what was he seeing? What was he keying in on, do you think?
Well, he was seeing this shift in consumer behavior, right?
Yeah, towards more organic and natural foods.
Exactly. And he saw the potential in Whole Foods long before it became mainstream.
It was like he was reading the tea leaves.
Yeah, he was connecting those dots, seeing the bigger picture.
And he saw the opportunity and he seized it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's all really interesting. Now, Chapter 7 is The Power of Focus, Making Your Money Work for You. Sounds like a bit of a gear shift here.
A little bit of a shift, yeah.
Yeah.
This chapter really focuses on portfolio management,
Okay.
making the most of those winning positions.
Now, we meet Kathleen Phillips in
Yeah.
this chapter, right?
Yes.
And she's all about efficiency.
Efficiency, yes.
She loves using IBD's leaderboard, which is a curated list of those top-performing stocks.
Ready to break out.
Ready to break out, yeah. It's like having that team of expert analysts
Doing all that research for you.
doing the heavy lifting for you,
Mm.
sifting through all that data to find the most promising opportunities. And that kind of leads me to a question that I think a lot of people struggle with these days because we're just inundated with information, right?
Yes.
We have information overload everywhere we turn. So how do we find those reliable sources like investors.com or IBD's leaderboard
Right.
that can really help us make sense of it all without just getting completely overwhelmed?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, right? But I think it's about finding those trusted sources of information.
Okay.
Like IBD, for example, connecting with other experienced investors
Yeah.
and really using technology to help us kind of filter through all the noise and focus on what really matters.
Work smarter, not harder. Right?
Exactly. Work smarter, not harder.
So it seems like Chapter 9, black belt testing, life-changing moments in investing. It's kind of where things get really inspiring.
Yeah. This is where we see those incredible results from discipline and continuous learning.
And that's where we meet Barbara James.
Yeah.
Now, her story is amazing. She actually was able to pay off her house and car loans using her stock market profits.
Amazing, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So talk about achieving financial freedom.
Absolutely.
But her journey wasn't without its challenges, right?
No, not at all. She actually went through a really difficult period, losing her husband and being laid off from her job,
Oh, wow.
all within a short time.
I didn't realize it was that intense.
Yeah, it was a lot to deal with. But what's remarkable is that even in the face of all that adversity,
She kept going.
she remained committed to her investing goals.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, she is. So that's a real testament to the power of this knowledge to just like transform lives,
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it also highlights that there are psychological hurdles
Yeah.
that investors face.
Absolutely.
So how do we overcome those fears and doubts?
Yeah, that can really sabotage us.
They can stop us in our tracks.
Absolutely. And that's something we'll dig into a little bit more in the next part of our deep dive.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
But for now, let's move on to Chapter 10, Black Belt Trading. Investing like a pro.
Oh,
Great! I'm excited about this one.
This is where we get to learn from those who have made investing their life's work.
And we meet Kevin Martyr in this chapter,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And he had kind of an aha moment, I guess you could call it, when he read O'Neill's book.
He did, yeah.
And it really helped him to identify his past mistakes and set him on a new path to success.
Yeah, and I think it's a common thread we see in a lot of these stories, right? That O'Neill's book is like a catalyst for change.
Right, it gives you that different perspective.
Yeah, you understand the market in a whole new way.
But it's not just about reading the book, right?
Yeah.
It's about putting those principles into practice.
Right, you got to take action.
Yeah.
And that's what separates those who, just dabble.
From the ones who are truly successful.
Exactly.
So this brings up a really fascinating question. What are the key differences between like an amateur and a professional investor? And what can we as everyday investors learn from those pros?
That's a great question, and one that we'll dive into further as we continue our deep dive.
Ooh, can't wait for that. But for now, I think, let's take a moment to just reflect on what we've covered so far.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? To see how O'Neill's principles have helped so many people achieve their financial goals.
It's inspiring.
It really is inspiring.
Yeah, and it's not just about the technical aspects of investing.
Right.
It's about that mental and emotional game
Exact.
that really makes all the difference.
Yeah.
These stories are a testament to the power of knowledge.
Discipline and that commitment to lifelong learning.
And I can't wait to see what other insights we uncover as we keep going.
Me too.
But for now, we'll take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll explore those remaining chapters and wrap up our exploration of William J. O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks. Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were talking about the differences between amateur and professional investors. What sets those pros apart? What do they have that maybe the rest of us don't?
Well, I think it really comes down to mindset, They approach investing as a craft, a discipline that requires constant refinement. They're always looking for that edge, always testing new strategies, and most importantly, they're always learning from their mistakes.
So it's not just about having the knowledge, it's about having the right mental framework, the right approach.
It's the whole package, yeah.
Okay.
And, O'Neill really emphasizes this in the book.
Okay.
He doesn't want you to just blindly follow a formula.
Right.
He wants you to understand those principles, the why behind the what, and then adapt them to your own style, your own risk tolerance.
So it's almost like you become the master of your own investing destiny.
Exactly. You take control.
Yeah.
You understand your strengths, your weaknesses.
Right.
And you build a system that works for you.
So discipline's a big part of that, right?
It's huge because, the market is full of distractions,
Right.
temptations, shiny objects.
Oh, yeah.
But those pros have learned to stay focused on the long game.
They've mastered that emotional side of it because,
Oh, absolutely.
let's face it, the market is a roller coaster.
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride, yeah.
Yeah, and the pros, they don't let their emotions, that fear or greed dictate their decisions. They stick to their plan. They ride out those inevitable ups and downs.
That's so hard to do, though.
I know it's easier said than done.
It is.
But learning to control those emotions, that's key.
It's a game changer, I think, for so many investors.
It really is. Because if you can manage that emotional side, you're going to make much better decisions.
O'Neill really stresses that, right?
Oh, he does. He talks about developing that inner resilience.
That ability to kind of bounce back from setbacks.
Yes, and stay focused on the bigger picture.
Because the bigger picture ultimately is achieving those financial goals, right?
Exactly. Whether it's retiring early, buying a dream house.
Traveling the world.
Yeah, whatever it is for you.
Having the freedom to pursue your passions without constantly worrying about money.
That's the dream.
That's the dream, yeah.
Yeah.
And O'Neill's book, it kind of provides that roadmap to get there.
It does. It's not, a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
But it's a proven system for achieving that lasting financial success.
And it's accessible to anyone, no matter what their background is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Their experience level. He really demystifies the stock market.
He breaks it down.
He breaks it down into simple language,
Anyone can understand it.
Yeah.
And he backs it all up with data and real-world examples.
Yes, and examples. It's not just theory.
It's practical advice.
Yeah.
He doesn't just tell you what to do. He explains why it works.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into how to make money in stocks, let's distill some of those key takeaways.
Okay.
What are the big nuggets of wisdom, that we want listeners to walk away with?
Well, first and foremost, I think O'Neill makes it crystal clear that anyone can learn to make money in the stock market if they have the right knowledge,
the discipline,
and the right strategies.
And that knowledge is available.
Yeah.
I mean, he lays out his CAN-SLIM method.
He does.
Very clearly, it's easy to grasp.
Step by step.
Step by step.
Yeah.
And those success stories that we've been talking about.
They're so inspiring.
They really are.
Yeah.
They not only prove that it works, but they kind of give you that belief that we can achieve similar results.
Absolutely. If they can do it, we can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It shows that success in the stock market isn't just for Wall Street insiders.
Right.
It's for everyday people from all walks of life.
Exactly.
So that brings us to another key takeaway, right? It's that importance of mindset,
Absolutely.
developing those black belt qualities.
Yes.
The discipline, the patience,
What perseverance.
the commitment to continuous learning.
You got it. Yeah.
Those are the things that set successful investors apart.
Yeah, that's what separates the amateurs from the pros.
So it's about approaching it as like a skill, a craft that you can really master.
And you get better over time.
You get better over time.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that O'Neill emphasizes is that the biggest winners in the market, these are often like the game changers.
Yes, the disruptors.
The disruptors, yeah.
Yep.
The companies with those revolutionary products or services.
Think like Apple, Amazon, Tesla.
Yeah, the companies that have really changed the way we live and work.
And think about it. What are those innovations that are going to shape the future?
Right. That's a good question.
Like, what are the companies that are going to be the giants of tomorrow?
Yeah, that's exciting to think about.
It is, yeah.
It's almost like we can get in on the ground floor.
And O'Neill's giving you the tools to help you identify those opportunities.
So it's up to us.
It's up to us to put them to work.
To do the work, yeah. And he also encourages us to connect with other investors.
Yes, absolutely.
To join a local IBD meetup group.
Yes, learn from each other.
Learn from each other.
Share insights.
Yeah, share insights.
And, be part of a community.
Because that support system can really make all the difference.
It can, because, sometimes investing can feel like a solitary pursuit.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be.
There's a whole community out there.
Yeah, and they're rooting for you.
They're rooting for us.
Yeah.
All right, so as we wrap up this section of our deep dive,
Okay.
what's like the most important message you think O'Neill wants readers to take away?
I think it's that financial freedom is possible
Okay.
for anyone
For anyone
who's willing to put in the effort.
And that effort isn't just about the technical stuff.
Right.
It's about cultivating the right mindset.
The discipline, the patience, that hunger for knowledge.
Yeah, that relentless pursuit of knowledge.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's about becoming like a lifelong learner,
Yeah,
embracing those challenges
and enjoying the process.
and enjoying the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So with that, I think we come to the end of part 2 of our deep dive into William J. O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks. We'll be back shortly for the final part of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent this episode exploring William J. O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks.
A book packed with insights for any investor, really.
Really is. And we've seen how O'Neill takes this, this proven can slim system
Right.
and combines it with these real-world success stories to show that anyone, really anyone, can achieve financial success in the stock market.
It's a powerful combination, that's for sure.
It is. And we've talked about those key takeaways, the importance of knowledge
Discipline, mindset.
and continuous learning.
But for me, what really stuck out was that emphasis on empowerment,
Yeah, I agree.
It's not like he's handing you a get-rich-quick scheme.
No, not at all.
It's about, equipping you with the knowledge and the tools
The tools you need, yeah.
to become a really savvy investor.
Take control.
Yeah, take control of your financial future.
Exactly.
And he does that, in part, by demystifying the stock market.
Which can be so intimidating,
It really can be.
especially for beginners.
But O'Neill breaks down those complex concepts.
Yeah, he makes it easy to understand.
Yeah, into clear, understandable language.
And he backs it all up with the data.
With the data, with the research.
Real-world examples.
So he's not just telling you what to do. No.
He's explaining why it works.
Exactly. He shows you the reasoning behind it.
And I like how he encourages readers to think critically,
Oh, yeah.
to question assumptions,
Don't just take things at face value.
to constantly learn and grow.
Be curious.
Be curious, right?
Right.
He wants you to become a student of the market, develop your own insights,
Find your own style.
find your own style. Now, one thing that really struck me about his approach is this unwavering optimism.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
He really believes that anyone can achieve success in the stock market if they just put in the effort.
He does. And it's contagious, that optimism.
It is. It makes you feel like, yeah, I can do this.
You get excited.
But he also acknowledges that it's not always going to be easy.
And of course not. There'll be challenges.
There'll be setbacks. There'll be those moments of doubt.
Inevitable mistakes, yeah.
But he wants us to view those setbacks as learning opportunities.
Stepping stones.
Stepping stones on the path to mastery.
To becoming a better investor.
And that's why I think he emphasizes that community aspect so much.
Absolutely.
Connecting with other investors, learning from their experiences.
Sharing those insights. So, yeah.
Joining those IBD meetup groups.
Yeah, attending workshops.
So it's that reminder that, you're not in this alone.
Right, there's a whole community out there to support you.
And they want to see you succeed.
They do. It's really a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. So as we wrap up our deep dive into how to make money in stocks, what's the final message, the big takeaway that you want listeners to really, hold on to?
It's that financial freedom is within reach. It's possible.
For anyone.
For anyone who's willing to do the work.
It's not a handout. You got to
put in the effort.
Put in the effort, yeah.
Learn the skills, cultivate that mindset.
Yeah, the discipline, the patience.
Become a student of the market.
And never stop learning.
Never stop learning. That's key.
Well said. Well, with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into William J. O'Neill's How to Make Money in Stocks. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery, and we hope you're feeling inspired to take your investing to the next level. Until next time, keep seeking knowledge and keep diving deep.